Hello survivors, Si here for First Aid Spray with a rare on-screen appearance, and we are here to talk about the latest from Laced Records today in their string of Resident Evil vinyls, which is the 1996 original Resident Evil soundtrack. We have been covering Laced sort of since the beginning of the show, really. It was fairly early on, whether that's in the news, or we did a couple of videos as well looking at their first releases of Resident Evil vinyl, which were for, oddly, Remake, as you can sort of see there, and the original soundtrack for the original Resident Evil 2, which seemed like a strange pairing in a way. I haven't kept up with every single one of their, well, I've kept up with their releases, I haven't bought all of their releases. This has been one of the things where I guess nostalgia has blinded me. As a preference over nostalgia, but I have bought a few of them, and they're all the fixed camera angle games, so I do have 3, Code Veronica and Zero, and they're all wonderful. As you can see from a quick glance at them, they are all sort of beautifully made, so I couldn't miss out on their latest release, which, as I say, is the original Resident Evil from 1996, and this is the special edition in particular. So I don't think this is the first thing they've put out that's in a box instead of like a gatefold, but it is the first time I've seen it, and it's really nice. On the front here we have what I think is actually an original piece of artwork, but it looks like the Japanese Director's Cut cover for Biohazard Director's Cut with the main hall of the Spencer Mansion, or it seems based on that. And we have the typewriter in one of the corners, and actually in the stained glass at the back there you can see etched into the glass Capcom and Laced, which is nice. And I'm a bit of a sucker for unity in uniform and things looking consistency is probably the word. And again, you've got this plastic sort of cap with the Tyrant on this time around. Yeah, it's nice, it's cool, and it slides right off, and we'll get a better look at what's inside. Oh, before we do that, on the back we have this nice image of the Umbrella logo and sort of like corrugated steel. It's very subtle, but it's very nice indeed. So if I lift this off, we'll get to the first piece, which is a slip mat. And I think this might be the first time they've done this. It's the first time I've seen it. I know a lot of people that buy these vinyls and don't use them or play them, use them to listen to, just have them as collector's items. But if, well, the day ever strikes that you become a vinyl listener, you'll need a slip mat, and this is a decent one. No complaints. The print is really nice. This is going to become my default slip mat, so I'm glad that they did that. Actually, this is sort of like the unsung hero of the package for me, because I feel like I needed something that was a bit more me, and how much more me could you possibly get than this? So yeah, happy for that. So that artwork on the outside that we saw is exclusive to this special edition box. This is the artwork that you can get on the regular print of our good buddy here, Mr. or Mrs. Cerberus. It's nice to have it included. It is just a bit of cardboard, there's nothing to it, but I suppose you could frame this if you like it. But as you may have briefly seen looking at some of the other ones that I just showed, the artwork for all of these is incredible. So it's nice just to have, not miss out on a piece of artwork, even if it is just on a bit of cardboard. It's cool that it exists, it's cool that it's there. So our first of 3 LPs in this, The Face of Yawn. I thought maybe at first an odd choice. I would have maybe, especially considering the monsters we're about to get to, I was thinking zombie, right? First thing out of the gate. Classic turnaround Mr. Peruk zombie. No, actually, Yawn makes sense. It's an exclusive creature, exclusive to the original Resident Evil and its remake. So that's nice. And then on the back, we have the medals, the medallions, sun, moon, wind, and so on. Star. Yes, cool. It's nice. Straightforward, good, not overly complicated, just nice to look at. And let's have a look inside as well while we're here, because really these vinyls are beautiful all over. So this is what the A side looks like for me, and the B side is actually a bit of a flip-flop. It's we've got, and I think this is true of all of them really, is that it's more one side is more red and one side is more white. Maybe that's just the way that my prints come out, but it's really nice. It's clever. It's different. The other ones are all really cool as well. I love the color choices, but this is different. The rest are just sort of like a transparent but a singular color, whereas this to have kind of a sort of splash design to it. It's nice. So LP1, side A and side B, is the original 1996 soundtrack. Almost in its entirety. There's a few pieces I think that might be missing, Resident Evil largely has an odd soundtrack in that there are a lot of piece of music that just you hear once, depending on your choices throughout the game. And I think some of those are possibly missing, and the cheesy intro is missing, and that kind of stuff. But the main bulk of the soundtrack is there. There are also 2 more LPs in here, which is for the 1997 remix album. So not to be confused with the DualShock version of the soundtrack. This is a remix of the original soundtrack that was first printed in 1997, and I've heard bits and pieces of it over the years, but it's nice to actually have it as a release and be able to sit through and go through it properly. So it's a pleasant surprise. Yes, we have a hunter, of course, again, important enemy for Resident Evil 1, and the back, very similar, same design, but in green. We've got green this time, and do you know what, while we're here, actually, we might as well take another look at what this vinyl looks like. And again, that's your B, and your A is more red. And we've got the same sort of center design, but now it's green rather than red, so makes sense. And sides A and B of that are the 97 soundtrack, as are sides C and D as well of this, which is possibly my favorite image. I think it's certainly my favorite image from this collection. It might be my favorite image so far. It's right up there with the Code Veronica inlay that they did of the suspended doll, and some of the other stuff that you're probably seeing on screen right now. But yes, this incredible image of the Tyrant. I expect to see that on a podcast soon, probably as the thumbnail. But yeah, so this is the other half of the 97 soundtrack. I've done the others, so while we're here, we may as well do it properly. Let's take a look. C. That's your C side, and that's your D side. That one almost looks like an eye. How appropriate is that? So yeah, pretty cool. It's a wonderful display of consistency, but also enough change from the previous releases that they've done with the vinyls being that kind of design, and the fact that they've included the remix album. It's really cool. I'm glad that they finally did put this out. I sort of feel like I've been waiting for it. I do maybe regret not picking up some of the ones that I've missed from 4 onwards, but this was unmissable for me. It's great to have the soundtrack on vinyl, and it sounds fantastic. It's worth saying they all sound really good. This one sounds particularly good as well because there's something about the simplicity of Resident Evil 1's soundtrack that just really works, sort of crackling out of a vinyl player. As I say, the first release they did being RE2 in Remake, it was kind of like, well, it's a shame we don't have the original Resident Evil, and now we come sort of full circle. So who knows what's next for Laced and Resident Evil. They've done all the numbered games now up to Village. Who knows, it could be Revelations, could be Outbreak. This could be it, this could be the final one. No idea, but hopefully it's not the entire end, because yeah, this entire collection, the stuff that I've seen, has been really, really good. And they've been putting out great stuff for other video game soundtracks as well, so it's well worth a look. If you can afford to be tempted into the life of vinyl collector. But yeah, that's just a quick look at the 1996 Resident Evil Laced Records vinyl soundtrack, the special edition, in fact. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Have you picked this up? Are you tempted by it? It might be hard to get your hands on now if you didn't pre-order it, so good luck with that. But yeah, also let me know what you think they should be working on next, which soundtrack you'd like to see on vinyl that they haven't pressed. I'd be curious to see what people say. The answer's obviously Gaiden. No, it's Survivor, actually. Survivor would be. Yeah, I don't think I could resist that. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like, hit subscribe. We're always putting out new Resident Evil content all the time. We've got various shows and podcasts and all kinds of good stuff about survival horror and Resident Evil. I've been Cypher First Aid Spray, and have a good week.